So, Dr. Pez, I do have things that are troubling me. I've got ills on my mind that only you can help me. Are you willing to help this poor soul?
Yeah, fire away.
Let's do it, Johnny. Dr. Pez. We have the couch for you with Dr. Pez. Here we go. With Dr. Pez. Sounds like we're going to make a soft drink soon. Dr. Pez, after watching 4 weeks of football, one of the things that is making me feel a bit shaky and ill are the Eagles. Is it time to start selling my Eagles stock? Except, of course, Barkley.
Um, I would hold off because they're on a bye week, and then they have the Cleveland Browns, whose defense looks like it looks okay. Then the Giants, but then they have a mid-season stretch where they go against weaker defenses. Where I feel like the bye weeks come at the right time for them. Get AJ Brown back, so I'd hold tight with your Eagles. I won't panic too much because in Orkney scoring, like Jalen Hurts, for example, he's got butterfingers, but that's an issue. He can't keep hold of the football. But his first four his first 4 weeks have been 28 points, 35 points, 17 and 17. Now the 17 and 17 aren't great in Orkney scoring, but you've just got to look at weeks 8 to 14 and he has a really good schedule where he could be in some shootouts, but I feel like he'll get on the right track with a bye week now. He might sort some stuff out, get AJ Brown back, because I feel like that's where Jalen Hurts has really struggled without AJ Brown as a threat, as an offensive weapon. So I feel like get AJ Brown back. Defenses have to respect the deep ball more. That gives Barkley more space. That gives Hurts more time, more options. So I'd hold tight on Jalen Hurts, for example, himself. So I'd hold tight on all your Eagles. The mid-season schedule looks really great, and if you're still a bit unsure after that mid-season schedule, if they start firing in the points, you might be able to then get something more. Because at the moment, I don't know who else would actually want to take on an Eagle for how much you spent on them players. But they've got a really good running, really. Um,
Yeah, Barkley is carrying the offense right now.
yeah, because that's because they've got no AJ Brown, so he should be back after the bye weeks. I think he had a
But
chance to
they
come back.
have Devontae Smith, which is supposed to be in the top half of the wide receivers in the NFL.
He,
Is he
the
not?
the biggest problem with that team, from what I've watched, is the O line. I think it's true in what everyone said in the offseason. Jason Kelsey controlled everything.
Right.
And I think it's just going to take a bit of teething. I think, like I said, I think the bye week has come at a good time for them. I feel like they need the early bye week, to have a break, iron some stuff out, see where they're at, and try and sort that whole line out because the whole line seems to be an issue. And Jalen Hurts just needs to start playing how Jalen Hurts normally plays. Like every time I watch him, he looks nothing like himself. He looks very like tentative to make a decision on what he wants to do. Whereas in the past, he'd just run, he just use his legs, and it's almost like he wants to prove he can stay in the pocket. Like
Yeah,
if he reviews the
Jalen
first,
hasn't looked good for a bit, really. I
yeah,
mean, if you look at the last half of last season, anyone that pegged their team on Jalen Hurts to win some fantasy championships, they're probably not too happy right now.
but you do have to remember that he had the injury that was a problem towards the back end of last year. Was it his knee? So, and I think you can look at it multiple ways. Like he in the off season, he got a lot of heat. So obviously, quarterbacks and their egos. He might be like, no, no, I am a pocket passer. I can do this. He might be a bit worried to run because he got the injury from running with Saquon there. You don't like it. It is a mess, but I feel like the early bye week has come good for them because I think they need it. They need to just have a week off, get in some meetings, watch, review the first four games, and make early adjustments.
Well, Dr. Pez, to be honest, the one thing as a Cowboys fan, I don't feel the hurts or have the shakes. But the one thing I have noticed is that Odunze is unable to shake his defenders. Should we start rethinking Rome Odunze as being a contributor this year?
Um, it's a hard one because where you potentially let's just have a look. I'll look in my league and see where he was drafted. He was drafted in the fifth round. He was drafted in the fifth round in my league in Orkney. Now they have a couple of good games coming up. They've got the Panthers, the Jags. I'd say
Mm,
at the moment they've got the Panthers and the Jags, and then a bye week. I'd say hold tight. I don't think he can be a start because clearly it's shown Keenan Allen's come back and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are the number one guys. They just
right,
it's proved it. Look, he did 27.5 points the week before with no Keenan Allen. Then Keenan Allen comes back and he gets 3 targets, 1 reception. Now,
right.
you've got to. I was watching Red Zone and I saw some of them throws Caleb Williams did, and they were not good. So realistically, really it was 1 target, 1 reception because 2 of them receptions were airmailed straight over Adunze's head. He didn't even have a chance to even try and get it. The thing watching Washington a lot last year with Adunze, the thing with Adunze, what he does so well is he's such a good contested catch receiver. So, like you said, he can't shake his defenders. But that's how Adunze made his name in college.
Right.
Because he
Being
literally
bigger in his
Penix
hands.
because Penix in college just had that much faith in him. He'd throw up a 50-50 ball knowing that Adunze would get that ball. But
Right.
you can clearly see Caleb Williams doesn't have that same faith or confidence, to me showing that even though he turns around and says, yeah, I've not been nervous since high school and all this ego fucking crap he comes out with, he clearly is struggling because you watch Adunze in college with Penix and Penix would throw the ball where Adunze's got a defender draped all over him, and Adunze most of the time will come up with that football. Caleb Williams just doesn't have the confidence, I don't think, to chuck that out there yet. So, on a long-winded way of saying it, I'd say keep hold of him for the next 2 weeks before the bye. Just bench stash him, see if his targets go up against 2 soft defenses, and then make your decision on the bye. Because then coming out of the bye, he's got Washington, whose defense looked really good against the Cardinals, but still isn't great, and then Arizona. So he's got a 4-game stretch with a bye week there where he could show something, but you can't start him. You just can't.
Just wait for them to play the Browns, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, these next 2 games are going to show it. Like the Carolina Panthers and the Jags, soft defenses. If he can't get the targets or get the production there, the Bears are just too loaded with too many offensive weapons. He's probably giving Caleb Williams fucking a headache thinking who he needs to go and target. So
Right.
after them 2 games, I don't think you could be worried just to drop him if there's a waiver wire guy. Like a
Well, after listening to you now, Dr. Pez, I am starting to feel that it is the same darn old Bears. And maybe wait a couple of weeks. But there is another darn old player by the name of Sam. Are we buying or selling? Is
Sam.
it time to go all in with Sam?
Um, I hate to say it because he winds me up, but yeah, like 23, 28, 30, 30. That there is his points in the first 4 weeks. Interesting. This week's going to be the teller because he's playing the Jets defense. And I'm going to be
Right.
very interested to see how he targets. He's got the Jets, a bye, and then the Lions. So
Ooh.
right
And the
now,
Jets are the team that drafted him number one. So it does add a bit of pressure.
but I think where the Jets excel is their secondary. So it's going to be them 2 games back to back are going to be a real teller. But at the moment, you've got to buy him. Like you have to. 4 games is a
Yeah.
4 games is better than Sam Darnold's ever put together. The Sam Darnold normally does the I'll give you 3 really good games and then I'll fall to pieces. But he, Kevin O'Connell's got
Yeah.
him.
I
Kevin,
love the story.
yeah,
I love the story.
Kevin O'Connell has got him firing on all cylinders. So it's impressive. So
So,
yeah,
just imagine if we had Zach Wilson starting in Cleveland, they'd probably be undefeated right now.
probably.
You just need ex Jets QBs to take over teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Matt as well. Even though, to be fair,
I mean, look at Geno Smith. He had to leave the Jets. He's leaving the Seahawks or the Seahawks. I'm not sure yet. We'll wait until
oh,
tomorrow.
cowgirls, pack it in. Just because we're currently unbeaten and your team
Yeah.
fucking dragged their ass against Daniel Jones, do not judge my
We
team.
stomped those Giants. We stomped them.
Fucking
We
stomped
put them
him.
down to size, as they say.
Stomped him. But to be fair, you were talking about the Browns before. Before we came on the show, Johnny mentioned Batch. I'll sort you out in a minute. Um, we we talked about the Browns O line and how battered it is, but Watson looked all right yesterday. Watson looked a
Mm.
bit like the old Texans Watson, running
Okay.
around, not hanging in the pocket, not looking jittery and confused to what he needs to do. He was playing a lot more
You're
instinctual.
saying this for a team that scored 16 points. So how great would Watson have been?
I'm just trying to butt a batch up before I ever go at him for his comment. That's all. Right. Before we move on, batch until tonight, we'll see. We're battered on the defensive line. We've lost pretty much on 3 main pieces on the defensive line against the Lions. What's not great, but if we win, oh, I'd mute the Orkney chat because Kelly's getting it, Batch is getting it. You're all getting it.
Well, right now, Batch is saying the Cleveland O line is very healthy because they cannot catch a cold, apparently. However, while the
The
Browns can't
Browns
catch a
suck.
cold, the Commanders are getting hot.
Oof.
Are we taking the Commanders' offensive players seriously at this point? Or are we still like, it's the Commanders? Come on. How are we feeling? Hot or cold?
Well, in several leagues, I've got Jaden Daniels, and he is great. I've at this early stage of the season because things can obviously flip on its head, but at this early stage, the Bears might be looking going. maybe we should have took Jaden Daniels instead of Caleb Williams. But it's interesting. Week 8, it's going to be Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams.
Oh my!
That's
Well,
going to
we
be
know
fun.
who's going to win that
But
one.
at this moment in time, Jaden Daniels, he had a good first week. He had a bit of a down week against the Giants, and then the last 2 weeks has been sensational. Like they've just let the training wheels straight off him, and he's been slinging that thing. I watched the game because I'm just intrigued by him. I was watching the game on my tablet, and he's exactly what you saw at LSU. He can throw it. It's funny because the first week he looked nervous, he looked terrible, and people who I play fantasy with in my home league were like, "Oh yeah, that Jaden Daniels, I don't think he's that good." I was like, "Yeah, but if you didn't watch college, you don't know what he can do." And like these last two games, you literally saw the Jaden Daniels from LSU, and if he carries that on, you're talking better than CJ Stroud last year, who was an
RG3.
anomaly. Well, not even
All we
RG3
need,
because Stroud
all we
last year.
need is a Shanahan to force him to play, and then there we go. The Commanders are done for another 10 years.
No, but the issue is though, if you watch Jaden Daniels and how he runs like Lamar Jackson. He literally a lot of his stuff is always to the sideline, and he just
Right?
has this like weird side shuffle about him that where as soon as the defender's there, it's like instinctual. He just casually just slides out. Lamar does it all the time. Like, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why Lamar has, with how slim he is, has stayed relatively healthy for all these years, except for his bowel issues. So, where RG3 was just like a wrecking ball. RG3 was like a Josh Allen. I'm just going to run into everyone, run like straight down the middle with no kind of common sense to him. So, I think him and who's his OC, the Cardinals mush.
The,
Oh.
the Cardinals offensive coordinator,
No,
uh,
the old Cardinal. Oh, Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury. He's
Yeah,
he's the current Commanders OC.
yeah. I think them two are a really good match
Mm-hmm.
for like Cliff Kingsbury plays that collegey style offense, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah,
And Mahomes, right?
yeah." He was like, "Oh, he did really well with the Cardinals at the start of the season. They went 7-0 or whatever." But no one speaks about that Kyler then got injured. You know what I mean? So Jaden Daniels stays healthy. We just don't know what this team's gonna be. We just don't know what this team's gonna be capable of. The next week's game is gonna be interesting against the Browns because they've got against all the other teams they've played. The Browns is probably gonna be the toughest defense they've come up against so far. So you've got the Browns and then the Ravens. After them 2 weeks, I think you're gonna
So,
get
so they have a bye week, and then the Ravens is what you're saying.
pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good to have a bye week before you have the
They
Ravens.
have 2 bye weeks this week.
Okay.
This year they've got week 5 next week against the Browns and week
Right.
14.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you see the university pulling up in their bus, I mean the Browns, you know that you're going to be able to rest your starters at halftime. So they got to be feeling good about that. So Dr. Pez, my eels are making. You've made me feel better. I appreciate it, Dr. Pez. Thank you.
Just quickly, Terry McLaurin out of that team, I
Right.
think you're eventually going to see the potential that everyone's been waiting for all these years. Like his last 2 games when Jaden Daniels had a really good productive when the training wheels looked like they were taking off and he was throwing it all over the place. 23 points and 21.45 points. Like you literally see the correlation between Jaden Daniels having a really open offensive game and Terry
Right.
McLaurin benefiting. He's the main benefactor. So this year you might actually see the true Terry McLaurin show, what everyone's been waiting for 5 years down the line.
Well, I, for one, am not ready for that because I have avoided Scary Terry like the plague because he gives me the shakes. So I don't want him to make other people feel good about their fantasy team. Anyway, Dr. Pez, I'm feeling much better about my 2-2 OrkneyBowl team. And congrats on you climbing your way out of the 0-2 hole back to 500. I am ready for some rookie watch. And as always, we have our normal offenders here. Roma Dunze, 10 yards. But apparently, wait, wait, yeah, uh, this could be a pattern outside of his 1 week last year. Neighbors, another solid week, 115 yards, 12 receptions. Harrison, looking solid as a rookie. Brian Thomas in the anemic Trevor Lawrence offense is actually putting up decent numbers. Certainly a solid wide receiver 3. Any thoughts on your rookie watch?
Yeah, when Johnny sent it through and put a Doomsday at the top, I was like, did I fall asleep? Like, why is the Doomsday on there? But I get
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, why is he here?
I do understand. He's just highlighting it because he was one of the highest rookies drafted, probably. But moving past him, because we spoke about him before, neighbours, if Daniel Jones doesn't hospitalise him in the next couple of weeks, he's just unstoppable. He's he's something else. Like look at look at the stark difference between him and Marvin Harrison. He's like nearly double the amount of points that Marvin Harrison's created already.
Right.
And then like
Well, he has 25 more receptions in 4 weeks. That's 6 catches a week on average, right? I mean, Marvin Harrison is nowhere close to
true.
Neighbors.
Oh
Neighbors
yeah,
is a
Jesus
top 5
actually.
wide receiver right now.
Yeah, Jesus. That is a massive target share difference. Um it's the thing it is interesting though because you look at it and go Neighbours is doing better, but really it's Malik Neighbours, no one else. And if Daniel Jones cannot kill him like in a game, Marvin Harrison's got like McBride, James Conner, Michael Wilson, Dortch, all these weird people fucking Kyler keeps throwing to. Um, but
But not Benson. Not Benson.
oh no, yeah, he got off a bit of work this last game, but we're just waiting for the James Conner halfway through the season
Yeah.
breakdown, and
When
then
is the
Benson will
Terminator
come.
going to terminate? You
I,
know, I got enough Benson shares. I need the Terminator and James Conner to, you know, go
I'd,
off air.
I'd say halfway through the year, if Benson's on waivers because people are giving up on him, just keep an eye on James Conner, and halfway through the year, just get him on your bench because James Conner always ends up breaking down. Like it's
Yeah.
just inevitable
Yeah.
with him. But it's the same offenders, isn't it? Really, it's Neighbours, Harrison, and Brian Thomas Jr. Like Brian Thomas Jr. If Trevor Lawrence can, like
Well,
Trevor Lawrence did.
let's see. Trevor Lawrence last week, I think I sent this to you, right? Has 33 passes, 33 attempts for 169 yards. Wow.
181, a 54.5 completion. It is bleak in it. It's like you can literally see this team. What Trevor Lawrence needs back is he needs Evan Ingram back ASAP.
He needs something
It's
because
Evan Ingram.
Peterson is not working
It's, it's, it's,
anymore.
it's Evan Ingram. Look at all the years he's had Evan Ingram. It's ETN, Evan Ingram, and it was Christian Kirk. But now he's eventually got his deep threat in Thomas Jr. that he's not had his career since he's been in the league. He's got his slot guy in Kirk and ETN, but he's just missing that safety net. He's missing his safety piece, Evan Ingram, who's just always open, big bastard who just gets him first downs every time he gets the ball in his hands. So hopefully he can get it ironed out, because if he can get it ironed out and get a more complete offense around him, that Brian Thomas Jr. I think will just be a 20 point a week guy. Really will.
Looking back, B, I think he's going to be the new Darnell Mooney, the new, Scary Terry, the guy that everyone says, oh, if he only had a quarterback, if he was only in an offense that had this. And every year, they're going to draft him in the first 5 rounds because they're going to say, if only, and he's always going to be a 25 to 30
Right.
wide receiver.
I'll quickly do something. I'll get up Brian Thomas's points quickly, and then I'll compare it to Justin Fields' Trevor Lawrence's shy performances. So through 4 weeks in Orkney scoring, he's got 16, 13, 12, 26.
That's Brian Thomas.
Yeah, that's, to me, for a flex, is not bad scoring.
That's not bad. I will take that for a flex.
They've lost all 4 games, right? But if you just look at the points scored to the points he's managed to generate in these games, and in that he scored a touchdown in his first game, his last game. So he's only got 2 touchdowns in 4 weeks, and he's got them points. They lost 17-20, 13-18, 10-47, and 20-24. So if you look at the points he's generating there, and they're not really scoring that many points yet. So they've got the Colts next week. If anyone's got Brian Thomas, I'd say play him without hesitation, because that Colts game just seems to be absolute shootouts left, right, and centre. Then they've got Chicago. The defense is really good. I'd say bench him back on there. And then they go Patriots, Packers, Eagles, Vikings, and Detroit. There's going to become a point where the Jags have to start just playing dangerous. Like, I feel like to the points he's generating, if they can somehow generate offense and some, like,
right.
Well, really, if they can generate some defense, that seems to be their issue. They need to start stopping teams and slowing teams down to give the offense more of a chance to get themselves rolling. Then I think Brian Thomas would then become a weekly start if they can get back to like the last 2-year Jags types teams. Do you know, where they were putting them points up? So,
Dr. Pez, I think that is some wise advice. Hear that, Orkney fans. Go out, get Brian Thomas Jr. as your flex wide receiver 3 right now. The one thing that I don't feel. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Pez.
I just wanted to chuck a couple of rookie names out whilst we're there. Bucky Irvin, he's probably not going to be available anywhere by now, but
Who doesn't love Bucky?
What?
Who doesn't love Bucky?
Exactly. He looks like.
Why did you think I said
he looks like he's eventually going to take over the lead, because he just looks so much better than Rashad White. So if he is available for whatever reason, I'd go get him ASAP. And one to keep an eye out if you've got a bench spot, like a stash bench spot.
Right.
Tyrone Tracy for the Giants.
Tyrone Tracy. I
Yeah,
have been keeping Eric Gray for 3 years now, and here comes Tracy.
I
Why
think
have I been stashing Eric Gray?
Tracy. I watched the highlights to that Cowboys game, and Tracy looks. He just looks like with a bit more time, he's going to be so much better as a multiple threat. Pass catching. He looks so good in the pass game, and
Right.
that could really help Daniel Jones. Just dump offs, and he's got some wheels. He's got some like speed to him. So there's already been rumors that Singletary might be a trade, depending
Well,
how the Giant season
Singletary
goes.
is code for Singletary Point. He is not a good option at running back right now. I can tell you.
Yeah.
Singletary.
Oh, and
Dr. Pez.
Batch. 1 minute. Batch did say what is true. Just an honorary mention to Lab McConkey. That touchdown grab was fucking impressive. That was really impressive.
I got McConkey in the OrkneyBowl.
I just feel like, to Batch's comment, I just feel like that Chargers team is too, at this moment in time, is just too unpredictable. Lab McConkey, 16, 6, 9, 19. It's like, oh, sorry, it was Martin, not Batch.
Yep.
I just think it's too unpredictable at this moment in time to be like saying, oh, yeah, start him every week.
The Chargers are going to challenge the number 2 position in the AFC. I still think it's going to be the Chiefs number 1, but I can see the Chargers being 12-4, 11-5 at worst. They are going to dominate by the end of the season. Get McConkey on your train now, you McConkey.